The most common misconception we hear from enterprise clients might surprise you. Since 2023, as an AI consulting company, we have fielded like at least 50 to 75, well, maybe close to 80 calls from organizations asking us pretty much the same questions. How do we train an LLM on our own data? The assumption behind this question reveals like a fundamental misunderstanding about how LLMs work and what enterprises actually need to unlock the value in that data. Here's the hard truth. Training an LLM on your company data, it's not really a thing. I know what you're trying to do. You guys are trying to get a model to answer questions based on your company data, but it is not, that's not what training an LLM actually will do. When you train or when you fine tune an LLM, what you're doing is you are teaching the LLM to talk like the data that you are giving it. So if you are a legal company and you fine tune a LLM on legal data, the LLM will start talking like your legal documents. That's what fine tuning or training actually does. What organizations are actually looking for is the ability to ask questions on their data, get accurate and contextual answers. They want to query over PDFs that are hundreds of pages long, video content, client meetings, meeting recording, architectural and construction diagrams, AWS infrastructures, Jira tickets, Notion pages, Zoom and team transcripts, published research works, the bug tickets, all of that. We have talked to companies and they have asked us for all of this. And the solution for all of this isn't really model training. It is something called RAG. And you might have already heard about this. RAG, it's Retrieval-Augmented Generation. I'm Rohit Sawant, I run Ionio, and over the last 4 years, we've been on so many calls where people have misunderstood this exact concept. And we have now built something to fix it. If you want to work with us, please drop me a message. Particularly, over the last 2 years, we have built dozens of RAG systems. Each time, the use case is pretty much identical. They have some data and they want a chatbot to answer questions on that data. And the underlying architecture is always pretty similar. We take the client's internal data, we send it to an embedding model to create vector representations. In overtly simplified terms, this means converting your data in a format where you can ask questions on it. After that, we store these vector embeddings in a searchable database. And then finally, we connect a large language model in the middle. So you can ask questions in natural language and you get responses back. So as you're working with our clients, you're pretty much building this exact same workflow over and over, customizing only the actual data sources and the specific requirements for the outputs. And this repetition taught us valuable lessons about what works and what doesn't, and what enterprise really need to deploy these things at scale. So after building these systems, we have productized our learnings in what we call Ionio Data Hub, a self-hosted, fully private RAG framework designed specifically for enterprise deployment. Our platform currently supports importing documents, PDFs, website links, Notion, and Jira. But the architecture is flexible enough that we can virtually connect any data source that can be embedded, from Zoom recordings to custom databases. Since most LLMs share similar APIs, you can plug in any model that you prefer, whether it's GPT-4, it's Claude, Llama, anything you want, you can plug it. And the system adapts seamlessly. And we also support thinking models like Owen, giving you access to the latest reasoning capabilities. And again, this platform, it's not really like a SaaS solution. It's more of a boilerplate that we have built and we just hand it over to you and it becomes yours. And we provide the code base to you and you can customize it based on your requirements and you can just deploy it on your infrastructure. Your data never leaves your environment, maintaining complete privacy and complete compliance control. Out of the box, our system performs just as well as standard RAG implementations in platforms like Claude's projects or ChatGPT's document upload features. And when clients work with us to customize the platform, we are really able to drill down our learnings into the product. For example, one thing we have really learned is the objectively correct answers aren't typically what enterprises are looking for. Different industries use different terminologies interchangeably, and sometimes organizations prefer answers that align with their specific interpretations or with their values. If you could decipher that mumbo jumbo, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, and you should drop me a message. Oh, and our platform directly integrates with your existing SSO systems as well. So, God forbid, if you're using Azure, we can integrate with it or with the Active Directory, anything you might need. There's also a dashboard which lets you track how users are using the platform, the most popular data sources, the common types of questions, the user engagement, and so on. With the Ionio data platform, what you essentially get is a blueprint for building your own RAG system. Rather than starting from scratch every time, you have a proven architecture that can be customized and extended on your specific requirements. And if you have a tech team, this is exactly what you're looking for. And if you don't have a tech team, we can just customize it for you. In terms of timeline and cost, building a custom RAG solution typically takes anywhere between 1.5 to 3 months in optimistic scenarios. And this costs anywhere between $50,000 to $20,000. But with the Ionio Data Hub, the timeline is always around 2 to 3 weeks, and the cost is half, in some cases, even a third of what you would spend internally. The first version deploys rather quickly, and then from there, it can be iterated on based on usage patterns and feedback. If you're interested in learning more, you can find more information about Ionio Data Hub on the Ionio website. And the reason behind building this was because most organizations typically have to make a build versus buy decision, and they don't have a midway. Most of them just default to paying for SaaS subscriptions, which stack up. And at the end of the year, you look back, and in our case, you have spent like tens of thousands of dollars in SaaS subscriptions. And if you're larger than us, you have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in SaaS subscriptions, which is like money you can't get back. It's like digital rent. So, oh, and by the way, you can check out all our case studies, all our testimonials, all our open source Hugging Face repos, all our GitHub repos, everywhere. I'm Rohan Sawant. We help companies with AI. If that's something you're interested in, drop me a message. Bye bye.